So today, we're going to dig into a really powerful, kind of counterintuitive idea. What if the anxiety we're all desperately trying to get away from is actually a guide?
I mean, really think about that for a second. We pour so much energy into trying to get rid of anxiety, right? We want to fix it, we want to escape it. But what if that entire struggle is just based on a huge misunderstanding? What if anxiety is actually pointing us towards something incredibly valuable?
Now, this perspective we're diving into, it comes from Ziji Rinpoche. He's a contemporary teacher in the ancient Dzogchen tradition, and he's adapting these profound ideas for our modern world. So let's break down some of these core concepts, because they could literally change how you see anxiety forever.
Okay, first things first. We have to look at the cycle that most of us are completely caught in, what we can call the anxiety trap. This is our default setting, isn't it? As soon as some uncomfortable feeling pops up, anxiety, fear, you name it, our immediate impulse is to do something about it. We see it as a problem that has to be solved, or an enemy that needs to be crushed.
And here are just a few of the ways we try to do that. We bury ourselves in work, we look for security in money or relationships, we distract ourselves with food, drink, entertainment, you know the drill. We use all this external stuff as a strategy to manage what's happening inside, constantly trying to rearrange our lives just to feel okay. It's just an exhausting, never-ending project.
So, this struggle often leads people to look for some kind of spiritual solution. But even there's a huge misconception about what we're even looking for.
This slide really shows the crucial difference. On the left, you've got the myth. This idea that spiritual awakening is going to be some big nuclear explosion of awareness that just vaporizes all your problems. Well, according to Rinpoche, that's highly unlikely. The reality, over on the right, is way more subtle. It's not about achieving some special problem-free state. It's about recognizing a presence that's already here, one that actually includes all of our thoughts and feelings, even the really tough ones.
So if the goal isn't to get rid of our problems, what's the alternative? Well, it's a huge shift in how we approach everything, and it's called resting as awareness. Let's get really clear about what we mean by awareness. The teaching describes it super simply. It's that alert knowing that's just there when your thinking stops for a moment. It's that basic, simple cognizance that's always humming along in the background. It's nothing mysterious or complicated.
And this right here, this is the core shift. We are not trying to create a state of awareness. You can't. It is already here. The only job, if you can even call it that, is to recognize it, to just notice the space in which all of our experiences are happening.
And you know what? That recognition can be incredibly simple. It might happen out of the blue, or just by briefly stopping your thoughts. The moment you notice that alert stillness, boom, you've been introduced. You know what it is. And from that point on, it's just a matter of recognizing it again and again.
Okay, so what does this actually look like in practice? Well, recognizing awareness completely changes your relationship with everything that shows up inside of it, especially your thoughts. As you start to get more confident in this awareness, a really natural process starts to unfold. And these stages can overlap. First, thoughts stop feeling like these big, scary enemies. They start to seem more like old friends just passing through. Then, you start to notice that they release all on their own, like a snake undoing its own knot. You don't have to do anything. Next, you might see them, but they seem like an empty house. There's just no real substance there. And finally, awareness itself just becomes so brilliant that the thoughts are just outshone, kind of like trying to see stars in the bright light of day. They're still there, but they're not the main event anymore.
And the most crucial part of all of this is not another technique you have to learn or apply. It is the natural result of just relaxing. It's what happens when you finally stop trying to control and manipulate everything you think and feel.
Which brings us to the most powerful, mind-bending idea in this whole explainer, and the reason we called it what we did. Just let that sink in for a minute. All those feelings we spend our lives running from, anxiety, fear, sadness, they are actually beacons of bright, shining light. So why? How could that possibly be true? Well, think about it. A really powerful emotion makes the space it's happening in much more obvious. A faint whisper in a quiet room is easy to ignore, right? But a loud bang makes you instantly notice the room itself. It's the same idea. Strong anxiety is a loud, impossible to ignore invitation to notice the vast, open awareness that's holding it. It's actually the perfect opportunity to practice recognizing it.
So ultimately, this teaching puts a very clear choice in front of us. We can keep chasing this delusional fantasy that we can somehow control and organize all of our thoughts and feelings into some perfect state of happiness, or we can choose awareness and just allow everything to be exactly as it is.
So I'll just leave you with this question to carry with you. What could possibly change in your life if anxiety was no longer a problem to be solved, but an invitation? What might happen if you stopped fighting it and instead used its intensity as a reminder to simply notice the vast, peaceful awareness that is already and always here?